The village of Glenwood lay nestled in the heart of the Scottish Highlands, a picturesque enclave where time seemed to drift like the clouds above. With its stone cottages, winding lanes, and the distant sound of a babbling brook, it was a place where every corner held a story. As winter settled in, the village transformed into a snowy wonderland, each flake glistening like diamonds under the pale sun. 12-year-old Lily McGregor stood at her bedroom window, her breath fogging up the glass as she gazed outside. The world beyond was enchanting. Snowflakes danced through the air, swirling and twirling before settling softly on the ground. Her bright green eyes sparkled with excitement as she watched the trees in the distance, their branches heavy with white. "Lily, come down for lunch," her mother called from downstairs, her voice warm and inviting. With a reluctant sigh, Lily turned away from the window. She could hear the crackling of the fire in the hearth and smell the rich aroma of vegetable soup wafting through the air. As she made her way down the narrow staircase, her heart raced with anticipation. Today felt different. It was as if adventure was calling her name. At the dining table, her father looked up from his newspaper, his kind eyes crinkling with a smile. "What are you daydreaming about today, lass?" he asked, setting aside his reading. "I want to explore the woods," Lily exclaimed, her voice bubbling with enthusiasm. "It's so beautiful outside. I'll be careful, I promise." Her mother exchanged a concerned glance with her father. "But there's a storm coming in," she cautioned gently. "You know how quickly the weather can change around here. I'll stay close to home," Lily insisted, determination etched on her face. "I just want to see if I can find any animal tracks in the snow." Her father chuckled softly. "You're just like your grandfather, always chasing after something. But remember to come back before it gets too dark." With a nod and a mouthful of bread, Lily felt a surge of excitement as she finished her lunch. After helping clear the table, she bundled up in her warmest coat, a thick navy blue parka that reached her knees, and pulled on her sturdy brown boots. She wrapped a knitted scarf around her neck and tugged on a matching hat before racing out into the cold. The moment she stepped outside, Lily was greeted by a rush of icy air that made her cheeks flush pink. The world around her was transformed. Every tree seemed to wear a crown of snowflakes, and the ground crunched delightfully beneath her boots. She took a deep breath, filling her lungs with crisp air infused with the scent of pine. As she approached the edge of the woods behind her house, she paused for a moment to take it all in. The trees loomed tall and majestic, their trunks dark against the bright white snow. She could hear nothing but the soft whispering of the wind and an occasional distant call of a bird braving the chill. Just then, Mr. McGregor appeared from his cottage next door, his golden retriever Max trotting happily beside him. Max's fur glistened with snowflakes as he bounded toward Lily with uncontainable joy. "Hello there, Lily," Mr. McGregor called out with a friendly wave. "You're off on an adventure today." "Yes, I'm going into the woods," Lily replied excitedly as Max circled around her feet, wagging his tail furiously. "Just be careful, Mr. McGregor warned with a twinkle in his eye. "The storm is coming faster than you think." "I will," Lily promised as Max nudged her hand affectionately. With one last wave to Mr. McGregor and Max by her side, Lily stepped into the woods. The trees stood tall and proud like sentinels guarding their secrets. She felt exhilarated. This was what she lived for, the thrill of discovery and exploration. As she ventured deeper into the forest, however, dark clouds began to roll in above her head. The wind picked up speed, rustling through branches and sending shivers down her spine. Yet Lily pressed on, determined to uncover whatever wonders lay hidden within this enchanting realm. Little did she know that today's adventure would lead her down an unexpected path, one filled with challenges and unexpected friendships that would change everything. This chapter introduces Lily's character and sets up both her adventurous spirit and foreshadows potential challenges ahead due to the approaching storm. The moment Lily stepped into the woods, she felt as if she had entered a different world. The familiar sounds of Glenwood faded away, replaced by the soft crunch of snow underfoot and the gentle rustle of branches swaying in the wind. The air was crisp and invigorating, filling her lungs with a sense of freedom and possibility. Max bounded ahead, his golden fur a bright splash against the white landscape. He seemed to revel in the snow, leaping and rolling as if he were dancing. Lily laughed, her worries about the storm momentarily forgotten as she watched her loyal companion frolic. "Come on, Max," Let's see what we can find, she called out, her voice echoing through the trees. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the towering pines formed a natural cathedral overhead, their branches heavy with snow. Sunlight filtered through the gaps, casting dappled patterns on the ground. Lily felt a thrill run through her. This was her kingdom, a place where she could let her imagination soar. She began to explore, searching for animal tracks in the fresh snow. Look, Max, she exclaimed, pointing to a set of small paw prints leading off into the thicket. Do you think it's a rabbit? Max sniffed at the tracks with keen interest before bounding off in pursuit of something unseen. Lily followed closely behind, her heart racing with excitement. Each step brought new discoveries, twisted roots peeking through the snow, clusters of bright red berries on bushes, and even a few delicate icicles hanging from branches like nature's ornaments. But as they wandered further from home, the wind began to pick up speed, howling through the trees like a restless spirit. The once gentle snowfall intensified, swirling around them in frenzied gusts. Lily paused for a moment to catch her breath and glanced up at the sky. The clouds had turned dark and ominous, casting an eerie shadow over the woods. Maybe we should head back, she said hesitantly, feeling a twinge of unease. Max looked back at her with his expressive eyes, as if sensing her apprehension. Just then, a loud crack echoed through the forest, a sound that sent a shiver down Lily's spine. She turned to see a large branch snap from a nearby tree, crashing down into the snow with a heavy thud. Panic surged within her. She had ventured too far. Okay, Max, let's go home, she urged, trying to keep her voice steady despite her rising anxiety. As they retraced their steps, however, Lily quickly realized that everything looked different in this swirling white chaos. The familiar paths were obscured by fresh snow. Even Max seemed uncertain as he sniffed around for familiar scents. Stay close, Lily called out as she quickened her pace. The wind howled louder now, drowning out all other sounds and making it difficult to think clearly. She felt disoriented and alone despite Max's presence at her side. With each passing moment, fear crept in like an unwelcome shadow. The storm was upon them now. Snowflakes whipped around them like tiny daggers, and visibility diminished to mere feet. We can do this, she whispered to herself as much as to Max. We just need to find our way back. Lily pressed on through the storm, calling out occasionally in hopes that someone might hear her over the roar of the wind. But all that met her ears was the relentless howl of nature's fury. Suddenly, Max stopped dead in his tracks and raised his head high as if he'd caught a scent on the wind. He turned sharply and began to trot in another direction, away from where they had come. Max, where are you going? Lily shouted after him but found herself following instinctively as he led the way through the thickening snow. The dog moved confidently through the blizzard while Lily struggled to keep up. She felt a mix of trust and trepidation. Could Max really find their way home? Just as doubt began to creep into her mind, she caught sight of something familiar, a large oak tree that marked one of their favorite play spots during summer days. Wait, I know that tree, she exclaimed with renewed hope. We're getting closer. With Max leading her onward through the storm's fury, they pressed on toward safety. But just as they reached what Lily believed was their path back home, another loud crack echoed through the forest, this time accompanied by an ominous rumble that made her heart race. Lily glanced up just in time to see more branches breaking under the weight of snow above them. Max, run, she shouted instinctively as she turned to flee. With adrenaline pumping through her veins, Lily sprinted after Max as he darted ahead. The world around them seemed to blur into chaos. The wind roared like an angry beast while snowflakes stung her cheeks like tiny needles. In that moment of panic and confusion, all thoughts of adventure vanished. Survival became her only focus as they raced against nature's wrath. This chapter builds tension and highlights Lily's adventurous spirit while introducing elements of danger due to the storm's intensity. The wind howled like a wild animal, whipping around Lily and Max as they raced through the snow-covered forest. With each step, the snow seemed to deepen, pulling at her legs and slowing her down. Panic surged within her as she glanced back, half expecting to see the trees collapsing behind them. Keep going, Max, she urged, her voice barely audible over the storm's roar. Max bounded ahead, his golden fur a beacon in the swirling white chaos. Lily followed closely, her heart pounding in her chest. She could feel the cold seeping through her clothes despite her layers, It was as if the storm had a life of its own, determined to swallow them whole. "Where are we going?" she gasped, breathless from both fear and exertion. The familiar paths that had once felt like home now twisted into an alien landscape, obscured by the relentless snowfall. The trees loomed like dark giants, their branches swaying ominously above. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the air, a sound sharper than thunder. Lily froze, her heart racing as she turned to see a large branch snap from a nearby tree, crashing down into the snow with a heavy thud just a few feet away. "We need to find shelter," she shouted to Max, who looked back at her with wide eyes as if he understood. They pressed on through the storm, desperately searching for any sign of safety. The wind picked up again, howling fiercely as it whipped around them. Snowflakes stung Lily's cheeks like tiny needles, and she squinted against the blizzard. Just then, she spotted a small clearing ahead, a cluster of rocks that jutted out from the snow-covered ground. "There," she cried out, pointing toward it. "Let's go." Max raced ahead, his paws flying over the snow as he reached the rocky outcrop first. Lily followed closely behind, collapsing against one of the larger stones as they sought refuge from the storm's fury. The rocks offered some protection from the wind, but the cold still seeped in around them. Lily took a moment to catch her breath, her heart still racing. She wrapped her arms around herself and looked at Max, who sat beside her with his tongue lolling out and snowflakes dotting his fur. "What do we do now?" she whispered, feeling small and vulnerable in that vast white wilderness. Max nudged her hand with his nose, offering comfort in his own way. She scratched behind his ears gratefully. He was more than just a pet, he was her best friend and protector. As they huddled together in their makeshift shelter, Lily's thoughts raced. She remembered Mr. McGregor's warning about the storm and how quickly things could change in these woods. "I should have listened," she murmured to herself, guilt gnawing at her insides. Minutes felt like hours as they waited for the storm to pass. The wind howled around them like an angry beast. It was hard to tell how much time had passed or how far they had wandered from home. Fear crept into Lily's heart like icy fingers. What if they couldn't find their way back? Just then, through the roar of the storm, she thought she heard something, a distant sound that cut through the chaos. It was faint at first but grew louder, a voice calling out into the blizzard. "Lily, Max." Her heart leapt at the sound of her father's voice echoing through the trees. "Dad," she shouted back at the top of her lungs, hoping he could hear her above the wind. "Lily, where are you?" His voice was filled with urgency and concern. "Over here," she cried out again, scrambling to stand up and brush off the snow that clung to her coat. She peered into the swirling white but could see nothing beyond a few feet in front of her. Max stood alert beside her, ears perked up as he listened intently for any sign of their way home. "We have to get out there," Lily said resolutely. "He's looking for us." With determination coursing through her veins, Lily stepped out from behind the rocks into the storm once more. The wind slapped against her face as if trying to push her back. It was disorienting and frightening. But she couldn't let fear hold her back, not when help was so close. "Dad," she shouted again, pushing forward despite the biting cold and swirling snow. "Lily, keep talking. I'm coming." His voice grew louder now. Hope surged within her as she pressed on through the blizzard. Max stayed close by her side as they maneuvered through thick drifts of snow and around fallen branches that lay scattered on their path. Each step felt like wading through molasses. Every gust of wind threatened to knock them off balance. Finally, after what felt like an eternity battling against nature's fury, Lily spotted a dark figure emerging from the white haze ahead, a tall silhouette against the backdrop of swirling snowflakes. "Dad," she yelled again, this time with all her might. The figure turned toward them and began to run. Her father sprinted toward them with an urgency that made Lily's heart swell with relief. As he drew closer, she could see his face etched with worry but also determination. "Lily, thank goodness," he exclaimed as he reached them and pulled her into a tight embrace. "I was so worried. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get lost," she said breathlessly as tears of relief filled her eyes. "It's okay," he reassured her gently while kneeling down to check on Max. "You're safe now." As they stood together in that moment, father, daughter, and loyal dog, the storm raged on around them but felt less daunting now that they were together again. "Let's get you both home," he said firmly after checking Max for any injuries or signs of distress. "We'll take it slow." With renewed hope and strength in numbers, they began their journey back through the stormy woods, one step closer to safety with each determined stride forward. This chapter heightens tension while showcasing Lily's resilience and determination amidst adversity. As they began their trek back through the storm, Lily clung to her father's side, grateful for his presence and warmth. Max trotted ahead, his tail wagging despite the harsh weather, as if he were leading the way home. The wind howled around them, but with each step, Lily felt a sense of safety return. She was no longer alone in the wilderness, her father was with her, and together they could face anything. "Stay close to me, Lily," her father said, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. "We'll take it slow and make sure we don't lose our way again." Lily nodded, feeling reassured by his words. She glanced up at him, taking in his familiar features, his strong jawline, kind eyes, and the way his brow furrowed in concentration as he navigated through the snow. "I'm really sorry for going into the woods," she said quietly. "I thought I could handle it." "I know you did," he replied gently. "But sometimes even the best adventurers need to listen to warnings. The woods can be unpredictable, especially in a storm like this." As they moved forward, Lily felt a pang of guilt wash over her. She had let her excitement get the better of her, and now they were all facing the consequences. But she also felt a flicker of pride at having made it this far, and at having Max by her side. Suddenly, Max stopped abruptly, nose to the ground, sniffing intently at something hidden beneath the snow. "What is it, boy?" Lily's father asked, crouching down beside him. Max barked softly and began to dig with his paws, sending snow flying in all directions. Intrigued, Lily knelt beside them to see what had captured Max's attention. After a few moments of vigorous digging, Max unearthed a small object, a weathered wooden box that had been buried under layers of snow. "What do you think it is?" Lily asked, her curiosity piqued. Her father carefully brushed off the snow and lifted the box from its resting place. It was old and covered in scratches but still intact. "Let's see," he said with a smile that lit up his face despite the storm swirling around them. As he opened the box, a gust of wind blew past them, sending shivers down Lily's spine. Inside lay a collection of trinkets, small stones polished smooth by time, an old compass that glinted faintly in the dim light, and a faded photograph of a family standing in front of what looked like their cottage. "Wow," Lily breathed as she peered into the box. "These must have belonged to someone who lived here long ago." Her father nodded thoughtfully. "It looks like they were treasures for someone, a reminder of adventures they had." He picked up the compass and held it out for her to see. "This could be useful for us too." Lily's eyes widened with excitement as she took the compass from him. It felt warm in her hands despite being buried in snow for who knows how long. "Can we use it to find our way home?" she asked eagerly. "Absolutely," he replied with a grin. "But first we need to make sure we're heading in the right direction." They took a moment to orient themselves using the compass while Max sniffed around excitedly. With renewed energy and focus, they set off once more, this time with a plan. The storm continued to rage around them as they walked, but now Lily felt empowered by their discovery. The compass pointed steadily northward, guiding them through the snow-laden trees like an old friend leading them home. As they trudged along, her father shared stories about their family history, tales of brave ancestors who had explored these very woods long before she was born. He spoke of adventures that had taken place during winter storms much like this one and how those who came before them had faced challenges with courage and resilience. "Every adventure teaches us something," he said as they continued on their path. "Sometimes it's about bravery, sometimes it's about listening to your instincts." Lily listened intently, feeling inspired by his words. She realized that even though she had made mistakes today, she could learn from them and grow stronger because of them. After what felt like hours navigating through the stormy woods, her legs aching from exertion but her spirit lifted, they finally spotted a familiar outline through the swirling snow, their cottage. Relief washed over Lily like a warm wave as she broke into a run toward home. "Dad! Look!" she shouted joyfully as she pointed toward their cozy stone cottage nestled among tall pines. Her father laughed heartily as he quickened his pace beside her. "We made it!" Max barked excitedly as they reached the front door together. Her father opened it wide against the howling wind and ushered Lily inside first before following with Max at his heels. The warmth enveloped them like a comforting embrace as they stepped into their home, a stark contrast to the icy storm outside. The flickering fire crackled invitingly in the hearth, casting dancing shadows across the walls. "Welcome back," her mother exclaimed from where she stood in front of the fire, relief flooding her features as she rushed over to envelop Lily in a warm hug. "I was so worried," she said as tears glistened in her eyes. "I'm okay. We found some treasures in the woods," Lily exclaimed excitedly while holding up the compass for her mother to see. Her mother smiled through her tears and knelt down beside Max, who was shaking off snowflakes like confetti before settling at their feet with an exhausted sigh. "You two are quite the adventurers," her mother said proudly while brushing snow from Lily's hair and coat. "But, next time let's stick together during our explorations." Lily nodded earnestly, feeling grateful for her family and their bond forged through this challenging day. As they gathered around the fire together, her father sharing stories about their adventure while Max rested contentedly at their feet, Lily knew that this experience would stay with her forever. In that moment of warmth and love amidst nature's fury outside, she realized that true adventure wasn't just about exploring new places. It was about finding strength in each other when faced with challenges, and knowing that no matter how fierce the storm may be, together they could weather anything. This chapter highlights teamwork and resilience while reinforcing family bonds during challenging times. As autumn settled in, the Thompson household buzzed with anticipation. The leaves had turned brilliant shades of red and gold, and with the change of season came a new idea that had been forming in David's mind. He wanted to create an event that would not only celebrate Charlie's progress but also raise awareness about accessibility for children with disabilities. It was time to bring the community together. One evening, as they sat together in the living room, David shared his vision with Charlie. "What do you think about organizing a community event at the park?" he asked, leaning forward in his chair. "We could invite families from your school and the neighborhood to come together for a fun day." "Like a party?" Charlie asked, his eyes lighting up with excitement. "Exactly. We could have games, food, and maybe even a little demonstration of what you've been working on with Bella," David suggested. Charlie's face broke into a wide grin. "And we can have a dog show. Bella could show off her tricks." "That's a fantastic idea," David replied, feeling inspired by his son's enthusiasm. "We can invite everyone to bring their pets and have some fun contests." Over the next few weeks, David worked tirelessly to plan the event. He reached out to local businesses for donations, food, prizes for contests, and supplies for games. He also contacted the community center to reserve a space at the park and spread the word through flyers and social media. As the event day approached, excitement buzzed through Maplewood. Charlie helped with preparations, creating colorful posters that advertised their Pause for Progress event. He felt a sense of purpose as he watched his ideas come to life. On the day of the event, the sun shone brightly in a clear blue sky as families began to arrive at the park. The atmosphere was filled with laughter and the sounds of children playing. Charlie wheeled himself around, proudly showing Bella off to everyone who would listen. "Look at Bella," he exclaimed to another child who approached them. "She helps me every day." Bella basked in the attention, performing tricks that Charlie had taught her, rolling over, playing dead, and even fetching balls thrown by excited kids. The bond between them was evident. Bella seemed to thrive on Charlie's energy and joy. As afternoon turned into evening, it was time for the dog show. Families gathered around a makeshift stage where David stood ready to announce each contestant. "Welcome everyone to our first ever Pause for Progress dog show," he called out enthusiastically. Charlie beamed with pride as he watched Bella take center stage alongside other dogs from the neighborhood. They showcased their talents, jumping through hoops, performing tricks, and even participating in a friendly race across the grass. When it was Bella's turn, Charlie wheeled himself forward confidently. "This is Bella. She can do lots of tricks," he announced proudly. The crowd cheered as Bella performed flawlessly, rolling over on command and fetching a ball tossed by Charlie. The joy radiating from both boy and dog was infectious. Everyone clapped and cheered them on. After several rounds of performances, David gathered everyone together once more for awards. "Thank you all for participating. Every dog here is a winner," he said with enthusiasm. But we do have some special awards based on today's performances. He handed out ribbons for categories like Best Trick, Most Energetic, and Best Team. When it came time for the final award, Best Bond, David looked at Charlie and Bella with pride shining in his eyes. And this award goes to Charlie and Bella, he announced, holding up a shiny ribbon adorned with gold stars. Charlie's face lit up with joy as he wheeled forward to accept his award. Bella barked happily beside him as they received cheers from their friends and neighbors. I couldn't have done it without you, Bella, Charlie exclaimed, hugging her tightly. As evening fell and families began packing up their things after an incredible day filled with laughter and connection, David felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude wash over him. This event had not only raised awareness but also fostered community spirit, a reminder that they were not alone in their journey. As they headed home that night, Charlie clutching his ribbon proudly while Bella trotted beside him, David knew deep down that this was just the beginning of something beautiful. They had created connections that would last beyond this day, a network of support that would help them navigate challenges together moving forward. In that moment, surrounded by love and laughter, David realized how far they had come since adopting Bella. She had transformed not only Charlie's life but also their family dynamic, bringing hope where there had once been uncertainty. And as they settled down together at home that night, Bella curling up next to Charlie while David tucked him into bed, he felt grateful for every step taken along this journey toward healing. A journey where love blossomed anew amid life's challenges, a journey that would continue unfolding before them like an open road filled with possibilities waiting just around every corner. As the leaves continued to fall and the air turned crisp, the Thompson household felt a renewed sense of purpose. The success of the Pause for Progress event had not only brought the community together but had also inspired Charlie to push himself further in his therapy. With Bella by his side, he was more determined than ever to make progress. One chilly Saturday morning, David decided it was time for a new challenge. How about we try something different today? He suggested while they were having breakfast. I've been thinking we could go to the community center for some adaptive sports activities. They have a program for kids with disabilities. Charlie's eyes widened with excitement. Really? What kind of sports? They have wheelchair basketball, adaptive cycling, and even swimming, David explained, watching as Charlie's enthusiasm grew. I thought it might be fun for you to try something new with Bella cheering you on. Can Bella come with us? Charlie asked eagerly. Of course, she can be your mascot, David replied with a smile. After breakfast, they bundled up and headed out to the community center. As they arrived, Charlie felt a mix of nerves and excitement. The building was buzzing with activity, children were laughing and playing in various areas, and the atmosphere was filled with energy. Once inside, they were greeted by friendly staff who explained the different activities available that day. Charlie's eyes lit up as he saw other kids in wheelchairs playing basketball on one side of the gym. Can I try that? He asked, pointing excitedly. Absolutely, one of the staff members said, guiding them toward the court. We'll get you set up with a chair and some practice shots. David helped Charlie transfer into an adaptive basketball wheelchair, which was specially designed for mobility and speed. As Charlie adjusted to his new chair, Bella sat beside him, her tail wagging in encouragement. Ready to show them what you've got? David asked, giving Charlie a reassuring smile. With a determined nod, Charlie wheeled himself onto the court where other kids were already playing. He felt a rush of adrenaline as he picked up a basketball and took aim at the hoop. Go for it, David cheered from the sidelines. Charlie took a deep breath and shot the ball toward the hoop. It missed but bounced off the backboard and rolled back to him. Undeterred, he tried again, and this time, it swooshed through the net. I did it, I scored, Charlie shouted in disbelief as laughter and cheers erupted from his new friends on the court. Bella barked happily, joining in on the celebration as she raced around Charlie's wheelchair. Encouraged by his success, Charlie played on, his confidence growing with each shot he made. After an hour of basketball fun, they took a break to hydrate and regroup. Charlie was flushed with excitement, he couldn't believe how much fun he had just experienced. That was amazing, he said breathlessly as he sipped water. Can we do that again? David nodded enthusiastically. Of course, and there's still more to try today. Next, they moved outside to where adaptive bicycles were set up. Staff members helped Charlie transfer onto a specially designed bike that allowed him to pedal using his arms instead of legs. "Are you ready?" David asked as they adjusted the straps to secure him safely in place. "Yes, let's go," Charlie exclaimed, determination shining in his eyes. With Bella trotting alongside him, Charlie began pedaling down a gentle slope. The wind rushed past him as he gained speed. It felt exhilarating to be moving so freely. Laughter bubbled up from deep within him as Bella kept pace beside him, her ears flapping in the breeze. "This is so cool," Charlie shouted joyfully as he rode around in circles on the flat path designated for adaptive cycling. After several laps around the track, each one filled with laughter and encouragement, Charlie finally slowed down and came to a stop beside David. "I can't believe I did that. It felt like flying." David grinned widely at his son's excitement. "You're doing incredible things today. I'm so proud of you." Finally, they made their way to the swimming pool area where adaptive swimming lessons were taking place. Although Charlie had been nervous about trying swimming due to his condition, he felt emboldened by his earlier successes that day. With Bella resting contentedly by their bags on a nearby bench, her presence always providing comfort, Charlie donned his swim gear and stepped into the shallow end of the pool with David by his side. "Just take your time," David encouraged as they entered the water together. "You've got this." With gentle guidance from an instructor who specialized in adaptive swimming techniques, Charlie began practicing floating and kicking while holding onto a flotation device. At first, he struggled but soon found his rhythm, his laughter echoing through the pool area as he splashed playfully in the water. "I'm swimming," Charlie exclaimed joyfully as he floated on his back for the first time, feeling weightless and free. As they wrapped up their day filled with new experiences, David couldn't help but feel grateful for how far they had come since adopting Bella. She had not only transformed Charlie's life but also opened doors to new opportunities for growth and connection within their community. On their way home that evening, Charlie still buzzing with excitement while Bella curled up at his feet, David reflected on how much this journey had changed them all. They had faced challenges together but had also celebrated countless victories along the way, a testament to resilience fueled by love and companionship. As they settled down together at home that night, Charlie clutching his favorite action figure while Bella lay beside him, David knew deep down that this journey was only beginning. There would be more adventures ahead filled with laughter and love waiting just around every corner. And as he turned off the light and closed the door behind him, he felt hopeful about what tomorrow would bring. A new day filled with possibilities waiting just beyond their doorstep, a journey where love blossomed anew amid life's challenges, a journey that would continue unfolding before them like an open road inviting them forward into brighter tomorrows ahead.